Now is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Old.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could?
Behold the majesty of the Sistine ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Ha! What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are here for the second part of my trip report, my first ever trip to Disneyland. I set a lot of parameters and a lot of boundaries. Last week, we just talked about the Disneyland park. Last week, we're going to get to everything else on this episode.
So many rules. Yeah, stay in the box. And we're only doing this. Don't ask other questions.
We have to keep everything else to this episode because next week, we have a special guest.
Yeah.
And that guest is Amy Ratcliffe. She's
Yay.
back for her third appearance on Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She'll have a new novel out, Thrill Ride. There's an updated and expanded edition of Star Wars Women of the Galaxy coming out. And then Star Wars Visions Volume 2 as well. She's got all the things happening.
All the things dropping.
There's just so many things happening in Amy's life, but we were really happy to talk to her again for the first time in like 4.5 years. So
that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
This was her third appearance. No,
Yeah.
It will be her third appearance.
Yeah. So
And so we talked to her twice, like closer together,
close
and
together.
then it's been that long.
Yeah.
So what is
It's wild.
time?
So that episode drops on the 13th of March, which is also a day I'm flying to Florida to see some Mets spring training baseball. Now, a lot of plans changed during that time. I was going to some games with Papa Dillo. Papa Dillo had to drop out unexpectedly. So I was like, well, yeah, I still have the tickets and the flight, so I guess I'll go see some baseball. Now, there were some interesting things that happened. I didn't buy two of the games, not involving the Mets, but because we like going to see the Tigers in Lakeland, which is about a half an hour west of Disney.
Mhm.
So that was going to be a Sunday night game and a Monday afternoon game. I never bought those tickets, but I did have a flight out of Orlando.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not saying secretly. I mean, that there wasn't a chance that, like, could I get a Jelly Rolls in on that Sunday night after that game?
Right.
Or do I go see Muppets and pay $190 for a one-day ticket to see Muppets on the Monday morning before the 1 o'clock game? Do I do that? Like, those thoughts crossed my mind. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But now I didn't have those tickets.
Mhm.
So now it's wide open. Last week in our one-channel Discord connected to DillosDizResort.com, which is our Patreon, which is where we're recording right now as we speak.
Mhm.
Our pal, Dr. Val, is in the Discord asking about Jelly Rolls. Like, well, do they have food or no food? Is it just drinks? Is it alcoholic drinks? What? And I mentioned, like, oh, they used to have a cast member night. I don't know if they still do. I was like, wait, when are you going?
Mhm.
And she mentions the timeline, which lines up with the end of my spring training trip. And I was like, do I have to go to? It looks like I'm going to Jelly Rolls for sure.
Mhm.
Enter Jen.
I'm like, what's happening? What's happening in this chat? Why is everyone talking about Bill Jelly Rolls out? I get a side text from Frank around the Discord before I see what's happening in the Discord. I get a text from Frank. Sorry, I'll be hanging out with Val at Jelly Rolls. Was Lewis maybe doing something else originally, but now maybe he's in? What's happening? I feel like it was, but I was like, what do you mean? When? What are you talking about? Then I go back in and I see all this hullabaloo in the Discord. And so obviously I
Shaking it up.
immediately go to JetBlue and I go, well, let me look up flights. And then I look up flights and they were really cheap. And I was like, uh-oh. Flights are really cheap. What do I do? But then the classic Dillo I went, let me figure it out. Mr. Steindillo was like, what are you figuring out? Why are you not just going? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, okay, but like, what are you even thinking about? I'm like, I don't know. Should I? Do you think I should? Should I just do it? Should I? And I don't. And then, of course, the flight prices jump. They just skyrocket. And I'm like, well, that's what I get.
Missed your window.
That's it. Yesterday, me and Jeffers are texting. We're talking about it. I had looked yesterday during the day. Prices were still up. I was like, forget it. As we're talking, I go back in and I'm like, whatever, let me look. And then all of a sudden the prices came back down again. I was like, uh-oh, wait a second. And so then I booked a flight.
Oh,
Which is literally a 24-hour situation that I will be landing and taking off pretty much 24 hours within each other. And so currently I am also in for one more night at Jelly Rolls.
that's right. Both of us,
Mhm.
Jelly Rolls, Sunday night, March 16th. It's happening.
It's happening.
Opening. I mean, just in case, I'll Dillo my expectations slightly,
Sure.
but we're both going to be there. I'll be coming in from Port St. Lucie with Theme Park Rob.
Yeah.
And and he's my cover. What is Hugh Grant call his
My papa.
Oh, my copper. That's right. I always thought it was cover for years, but it's my copper.
Yeah, that's right.
My copper. And Jen and I will be spending an evening at the All-Star Sports Resort after that. Why? Because why not? We haven't been at All-Star Sports in a really long time.
Exactly. I can't tell the 10-year-old. I haven't told the kids yet, but I really can't tell the 10-year-old about All-Star Sports because that's where he wants to go. But we say that, maybe we'll be back for his birthday. We'll see. But yeah, I agree, Val. Come on, Jeffers, you can do it. We continue to look for flights. Who else wants to be in? Big party, one night only. Everyone be crazy and ridiculous like us and do a 24-hour.
Why not? 36 hours? Get out of here.
No, 24. Take that. And also, the pricing had a lot to do with my timing. And I'm not even thinking, and for some reason, I'm thinking you were in the Orlando area on Sunday and maybe like somewhere else on Saturday. And I was like, oh, wait, you're like not going to be around all of Sunday. That's right. Okay.
So you texted me that, and then I told you, and there was no response. And I was like,
oh, hold on. My math is now mathing. Yeah.
Jen will be getting beignets at the French Quarter.
Who knows where the day? No, I can't. Jeffers will really be mad if I go there. But I said, if he comes down, we can go beignet it up.
Well, you go to the hotel, you drop your stuff off.
Yeah.
Regardless, you take the bus
to Disney
Springs.
I got a backpack.
You go to Disney Springs. You take the boat over to French Quarter. You get some beignets. You go back to Disney Springs. You live in a life.
I mean, it doesn't sound bad at all.
So there is that. We didn't have that on the books at all. Unfortunately, we will not be attending 90s Con.
Yeah. So because when this was talked about last week, Frank was like, if we do this, I think that solidifies we're not going to 90s Con because we had been teetering and 90s Con was putting out their photo ops for last week. And we're like, oh, we'll wait on that. Let's see. And then once this happens, we were like, oh, well, this would be maybe a little bit better. Maybe we do this.
So, yeah, I don't have my park ticket yet for Hollywood Studios, #GoAsMGM on the Monday, but I do have a reservation at Mama Melrose's in August.
I have no park ticket, but yeah.
But I have reservations at different places.
Yeah.
I figured why not make it a Mama Melrose's Muppets combo. I got jealous, I guess, of your trip report to Walt Disney World.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I kept saying to Mr. Schneidello too, because when you were talking about maybe doing it, I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay if I don't. I mean, sure. But if we hadn't just been, there would be a little more FOMO happening. I'm like, but spending a nice little evening in that courtyard, I think I have my closure, even though I'll continue to be mad. But,
So that's it. That's what happened. No plans to do this whatsoever.
Yeah.
And now on March 16th, on 3/16, we will be at Jelly Rolls for one final goodbye to Jelly Rolls. Yeah. And no, we're way off schedule already. Way off schedule.
Welcome in, Lexi. We're off schedule. We haven't even started the recap, so welcome.
I'm glad you said welcome in. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But so we'll be at Jelly Rolls. Likely I will be at the studios because Jen has an earlier flight on Monday. My flight is at close to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So I have. I'm not going to pull a Papadillo there though. I started looking when I was doing the Ogas and Mama Mel. I was like, do I do Oga's in the morning? Do I do Oga's at like 2? But what if I want to go to Muppets one more time? Like what? Because if I get 2 Muppets in, I'll be happy.
Uh-huh.
Should I do 3 Muppets? Maybe. I don't know.
Right. I mean, and now it's hard because we have now set this precedent of Oga's in our head of, well, Oga's is how you close out the park. So that's the rule. That's how it has to go for Oga's now.
Yeah. But now I might have to end on Muppets, so I'll figure that out. And I might have to do like one Frozen sing-along. Like I have no plans, like no Slinky, no Tower of Terror, no Runaway Railway, no.
See how easy I'm being? But I do have 2 reservations. I might have to do Frozen sing-along 3 times at Muppet. Lexi, you in? One night only, Jelly Rolls, March 16th, 24-hour trip. Let's go.
Well, I mean, you going in and out of that same airport?
Nope. In your backyard and then, or out of your backyard and then into my backyard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now we'll start talking about Disneyland, I guess.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
We when you said welcome in, do you hear Walt Disney World cast members say this?
I hear welcome home. Yeah, right. Welcome in. I think welcome in. Yeah, every once in a while.
I know this is something that we have picked up on, because other folks we know have said this over the years. Yeah. But in Disneyland, they say welcome in all the time.
Well, yeah, now you're breaking the glass a bit because I find a lot of YouTubers say welcome in, right? Yeah. But now that I think about it, like, yeah. And I also, I mean, where else do
I'm gonna listen to it when we're down there because in Disneyland it was like constant.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it.
Right.
But not something. And maybe it's newer into Walt Disney World.
I feel like and it depends on where you are. Like in stores, it might be more of a welcome in.
Yeah. Or maybe.
Not, like something like that. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about California Adventure. You missed a lot.
Someone fill in Rob in the chat, please. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
We have to move on to Disneyland finally. So
there was a big bombshell dropped by Jen earlier in the podcast, Rob. So everyone will catch you up to speed. No California Adventure was discussed last week. That's the focus here. I also mentioned last week, like I had everything positive to say about the Disneyland park, basically. And I was like, well, maybe more of my critiques / criticisms will be all lumped together. So California Adventure is included in that. Not that the park did anything wrong per se, but it feels like I definitely enjoyed what I saw. The visuals are great. It's very much almost like a combo of Hollywood Studios, of Epcot, and of a Universal Park, where it has these elements and there's a lot of cool things, and some of the attractions were great and really great, but I felt a little bit of a disconnect. I felt a little bit of like a disjointed flow sometimes, and I just, as time went on, right, we park hopped on that second day. So we did the morning in California Adventure. We did the evening, that same evening in California Adventure with Disneyland in the middle. And then the last day, we basically just did the last 2 hours of our day at California Adventure, which probably wasn't enough time to really enjoy it, because I did feel myself starting to enjoy things more along the way. But in the overall, like the biggest win coming out of that park is the Incredicoaster, which we all rode 4 times. The first inversion roller coaster for the 9-year-old. But Mrs. Dillo especially really loved it, and really loved the theming of it. And what a great roller coaster to ride, kind of old school, but new at the same time.
Yeah. 2 questions here. I find it interesting you said that there's a little combination of like a universal feel there, because that's the vibes it gives off to me, just by what I've seen. Second, now that the 9-year-old, why is she the 9-year-old, has done an inversion, does she feel more ready than ever for Velocicoaster?
She still talks about Velocicoaster because even when she was telling Mama Dillo
Yeah.
about
Uh-huh.
going upside down, she was like, "You didn't fall out," and the 9-year-old is like, "No, it had the thing. It had the thing." But she's
Uh-huh.
like, "The Velocicoaster doesn't have the thing, Grandma." But the
Uh-huh.
but the Incredicoaster has the thing over
Yeah.
the shoulders. So yeah, she's such a thrill seeker. So
Yeah.
that is that was where we started.
Yeah.
And we'll get to our view of the room, but we were looking at it for a good long time.
Yeah.
So we're like, no, that's where we're going. We're going there first. And
Mhm.
yeah, so we did back-to-back rides as soon as we got there on the second day. We did a night ride at the end of that day, and then a night ride on the final day also.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. The much like at Disneyland, where we were like Indiana Jones, Thunder Mountain, Matterhorn, Space Mountain, kind of that's the 2 hours. Here at California Adventure, we were like, okay, Incredicoaster, Cars Land, Roadsters, Guardians Mission Breakout. That was that was the big three right out of the gate that we wanted to do. So that was all accomplished pretty quickly.
Mhm.
Cars Land is great. This is what everyone says.
Yeah.
Did I get to spend as much time in Cars Land as I would have liked to? Definitely in
Mhm.
different times of the day, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. No,
Mhm.
just
Did you see it at any different times of the day?
just passing. We didn't go back into it. We didn't
Yeah.
go too deep into it. Like at
Mhm.
night, we passed it. I looked at it. Should I walk down it at some point? Because the park looks great at night too. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
that's also. I feel like maybe people don't talk about that as much.
Uh-huh.
Just how and I know we'll get to World of Color because we didn't really do it, but
Mhm.
uh, everyone talks about that aspect of it at night. But the park itself really is so pretty at
Yeah.
night, especially in different areas. But it was interesting that I couldn't get past and I don't know what it is, but the Pixar Pier, which used to be Paradise Pier back in the
Mhm.
day, it has your fair share of carnival rides,
Uh-huh.
which I don't go to a Disney park for carnival rides.
Yeah, yeah.
So like that whole area, as cool as it looked and as thematically awesome as it looked,
Mhm.
I was kind of like, I still
Right.
had that carnival aversion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. I think and, for me in Animal Kingdom, which is a great park, everybody. It's a good one. But Dino Land and that area kind of gave me those vibes too, which is also why I didn't connect with it as much
Mhm.
because I agree. And not that there's anything wrong with carnivals. I love a good carnival. We
Yes.
grew up with them around
Yeah.
here. Like it's great. And
Mhm.
and maybe that's part of it that it feels like, oh, well, this kind of stuff I can see anywhere. I mean, Legoland has some of that set up too. And so I don't know. Anytime I see areas like that, I mean, also to try to avoid having the kids want to play the games, but like I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm into it as much.
Yeah, on next week's episode with Amy Ratcliffe, I talked about Ride Playland briefly,
Yeah.
which is close to here, which I love. It's an old school
Mhm.
amusement park, just a cool environment. Love the giant swings there. Don't go on them anymore, but love the giant swings there. But here, like the silly symphony swings at
Yeah.
California Adventure, it's like Mrs. Dillo and the 9-year-old obviously wants to go on the giant swings.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'm not going on the giant.
Yeah.
And they also went on the Ferris wheel. I did not go on the Ferris wheel
Mm.
because I had to cancel my World of Color reservation,
Uh-huh.
Dessert Party reservation. So the, I mean, and I guess I didn't really pay attention to this. Again, some things I didn't go too deep on the research on,
Mhm.
but it has the regular Ferris wheel, and then it has like the crazy zigzaggy
Uh-huh. Yeah.
thing. So of course, the 9-year-old is in on that, and Mrs. Dillo was like, okay.
Uh-huh.
Both came off of that like Mrs. The 9-year-old especially who gets car sick but
Yeah.
loves her thrill rides.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Dillo was like, yeah, right. She's like, you would have been done for the day.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, I can't do those things. I can't.
Yeah. There's a line.
Yeah.
And my equilibrium, like I said, too many rides. I said this to somebody over the weekend. Too many rides on Back to the Future, the ride, where I just kept
Yeah.
hitting the back of my head, and I think it just permanently concussed me. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go. Lexi saying it's kind of terrifying. I felt like I was in a Final Destination where seconds before she said, "OMG, why didn't you do it?" So both sides there from Lexi, I think.
I don't want to be in a Final Destination. I will say about those movies though. Is this a tangent? It is, but I'm not a horror movie guy. But those movies always kind of intrigued me. But I'm not watching any of them.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if they
No.
intrigued you, so you saw them.
No,
But
I saw like a clip of like two people in a tanning salon or something, and then something falls on top of the, and they're basically frying in their coffin. I'm like, I don't want to watch that. Why am I talking about this?
Why
Dr. Val is talking about what I thought of Guardians.
Yes.
So Guardians versus Tower, right? We're talking about my March Madness potentially being Disneyland attractions versus Walt Disney World attractions.
Right.
So one of the questions would be, do you put Guardians Mission Breakout against the Tower of Terror? Or do you put Guardians Mission Breakout against Cosmic Rewind? That's the real question. Is it about the Guardians or is it about what the ride vehicle is?
Right. You have to give us a little bit of what you felt, though. We can't save it for.
It's crazy. Mission Breakout is crazy because I don't even know how many times we dropped. It felt like I was on a yo-yo for 5 minutes. And after 2 Incredicoaster rides and the Roadsters, and again with the hydration, not enough hydration first thing in the morning, just a very large cup of coffee. I was like, "Oh, I need a break after this."
Yeah.
It's so much fun and love the theming. Mrs. Dillo said it's better than Florida, but she's like, it's just so old. Like no one cares about Twilight Zone anymore. I'm like,
I love it.
I will be sending you a cease and desist notice.
Don't say it out loud in the parks.
I was like, what are you saying? But I also understand, the Florida attraction, it has just more. You're just led into it better. Where here it's kind of like you're in the building, you get in, and just suddenly you're there. So I liked how they told the story in Mission Breakout, but it was definitely fun. Had if anyone's asking, "Hit Me with Your Best Shot" was my song, which is they also have the song. So
I do see Lewis saying no, don't overly compare them. So I guess my question is, when you were there, were you able to like separate this as its own ride? Like, this is not Tower of Terror. This is a completely different thing. Can you go into that, especially having never been at Disneyland before? Like, I think it might be tougher if it was at MGM, but like, were you able to separate that in your mind?
Only because it is now involved in this whole other area of Avengers Campus that it was easier to accept as, like, I wasn't going in there going, why would they put this? Like, it was none of that. But it was cool to be like, oh, this is what the first room looks like. Oh, this is what the library is now. Oh, this is what it is instead of the, elevator, machinery room, whatever. So that stuff was cool to me. But based on because it's in Avengers Campus, it's an easier, you can separate them. And and to me, I don't think, because Tower of Terror in Florida is so good, I don't see how it would have compared to that even in California if it was still there.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And as Dr. Val was saying, I walked in going, how could they do this? Walked out saying it was awesome. I mean, it was a fun ride for sure. And I wish they would do more, I guess. Because both Cosmic Rewind and Mission Breakout are just so, like, it's so great that like they could get the whole acting cast to be in it, and that stuff really makes it. And you want to see more of it in some ways without oversaturation, I guess.
Yeah. Did you do it just one time, or was that
just one time for that? Yeah, that had crazy waits. And I didn't mention this in the last episode, but I should say it finally. Is like, originally leading up going, okay, will I see how it goes on the first 2 days? And if I need the lightning lane on the last day, will I consider some variation of a lightning lane? And really, I didn't feel the need. So, but Mission Breakout, especially at night, I was surprised by how long the waits were for that, where you think it might tail off later in the day, but really it's now you got teenagers and adults in the park
Right. That's what I was going to ask. Being more of a locals park.
Yeah. In the morning when all the kids are there, that's when you got to do it.
Right.
The kids aren't going on the ride.
Right.
They're going over. They're going over to Web Slingers.
No.
The Spider-Man ride.
Did you do that?
I did it at the very end. I didn't think it was going to happen. Didn't think it was going to work out. The 9-year-old was kind of like, meh, Spider-Man, whatever. And she didn't like that Spider-Man ride in Islands of Adventure because it broke down at the end. So ruined Spider-Man for her.
Right. Over.
Yeah. So we ate dinner and we were like, okay, one more attraction. What's it going to be? And she hadn't done the Mike and Sully dark ride. So she's like, I think I want to do that. She's like, but Daddy, you can go to Web Slingers. And I was like, okay. I ended up doing both because I got single rider on Web Slingers.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't know, first of all, Tom Holland is great in it in the pre-show. So I just want more Spider-Man movies, right? But it's basically Toy Story Mania without the gadgets. It's just you're doing this to the screen, and it knows you're doing this, and you're shooting webs the whole time. So this is going to be your TikTok.
Right.
You're playing Web Slingers, where a 50-year-old man gets the lowest score out of the 4 people he's sitting with. Yeah. And because I'm like, I can't go fast enough. I can't do it.
That's all I was picturing is how the whole time you're probably like, how do they even know that this is my hand? What am I doing?
And they say if you can pull things. I don't know how to do that. How does that happen?
Meanwhile, there's a 7-year-old kid next to you somewhere just racking up points.
Wrecking me. Yeah, just wrecking me in point total. I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
So, but I really enjoyed it, and my arms hurt just as much as the canoeing on the rivers of America.
You did a lot of arm workouts on the
trip. I did a lot of it is. I burned some calories
trying to get them looking like your calves. So,
so didn't do Soarin'. Didn't go over there in that direction either. There's kind of like a whole grizzly peak. Almost like you're going up the coast to more the Pacific Northwest portion of California. So where Soarin' is, and then where you would get to the entrance for the Grand Californian is that way. And so I felt like it was very vacant in that area because the River Rapids ride was closed. So just really breezed through there once. And then in Hollywoodland, it's very the entrance is very studios, which I liked, especially walking through it at night. But from Buena Vista Street to Hollywoodland, so that's where Mike and Sully is, just classic dark ride. But because Mike and Sully's was down the first night when we tried to go over there, we ended up going in Mickey's PhilharMagic, which which the 9-year-old had not seen before. So, and she's like, "What's this about?" And she really liked it.
Yeah.
But, this attraction replaced Muppet Vision. And you can tell as soon as you walk in that theater. And this is before I thought maybe that I was going to Hollywood Studios on the 17th of March. It was a visceral, angry reaction to being in that theater, and it was really, really funny. The attraction was enjoyable, and it was a good break to sit down for a little bit. But really, that whole area is very, very studios nice. I'm curious to see what's going to happen if they're planning to expand Adventures Campus, which direction that's going to go in, because there's a lot of fun stuff on that street that we didn't really get to either.
Yeah,
that I want to keep going with, but. I was like, why does it still look like the Muppets there in here?
Change it. If you're going to change it for the sake of change, then change it.
I was like, get this maroon and get these 2 balconies out of here.
Are they still up
there in Waldorf still behind that curtain? Open that curtain.
Let me see. Prove it. Yeah.
Get Sweetums out here. Come on.
Lewis said that screen looks really small.
There's definitely something. I remember you saying this in the Discord too, Lewis. There's something. Definitely at the beginning. I don't know what the artistic choice was to have it small, and then it expands, but definitely still smaller than when we were on Jocelyn's last meetup. That was the last time I think I was on it, and which was like,
What is
what is
time?
time? 3 years ago.
Because I was like, oh, that must have been our first meetup because we didn't do it this last time. No, it was Jocelyn's meetup in 2022.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, fun attraction, and always, and like the Cocoa edition, which had just been added, I think, when we went on Jocelyn's meetup. It's always a nice little fun break from the classic 90s Renaissance Disney movies.
Yeah. All right. What other rides have we not hit?
I think I hit most of what I did in there.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain. Yeah. And if we're going to segue, I'll talk about the food a little bit here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the last night we ate at the PIM lab, which is like a whole Ant-Man related thing. We had these massive taco salads that were the shell was like just wrapped around, which was good and just like a good healthy option to have, all things considered. The second night, I'm going backwards now. So the second night we ate at Carthay Circle, which is the fine dining restaurant in California Adventure. We had Blue Bayou the night before, which I'll get to in a little bit, but Blue Bayou may have set a bar that I was not prepared for in Carthay Circle. It's a pricey meal, which is fine. We're in Disneyland for the first time, so you want to go to like what the best options are.
Yeah.
When you walk into the restaurant, it's very old school Hollywood. You know, in the beginning, you're like, oh, it's a little brown derby thing, and then you just realize it expands out a little bit, and you realize how themed it really is, and how really nice it is, and what the backstory of the space is. I like where all the movie premieres that used to be at that spot, you know, in old-timey Hollywood. Great. And you see like you're leading through all these cool pictures, and you see the lounge and the bar area. So everything looks great. And then like we ended up in the room that we ended up in, and I felt like this is where we put all the families with the kids because this is a fine dining place. And now it might have just been a coincidence.
Right.
But I didn't find the room to be as impressive as the others.
Yeah.
So not that it took away from it, because I think the meal was really good and the food, you know, was tasty, and it's a seasonal menu. So I had a chicken dish, but it did feel a little displaced.
Yeah,
we felt displaced. I say we, I mean me. I don't think I've discussed this.
No, but that makes sense. And you can kind of always tell when you're like, oh, this is where they're putting all of us.
All of us with the young kids.
So
yeah, that part was interesting. And let me just say, I understand it from the aspect of people who are really going above and beyond, like a couple going out for a meal for the night. They don't want to have the disruptions. I understand.
Yeah.
But I think the room we were in could have been a little bit fancier.
Yeah.
Like beef, but otherwise it was good. And we did, and my mistake on Lamplight Lounge, because I thought, not knowing what days of the week that I was doing anything, but the brunch is on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We were there on a Thursday for the lunch. So we did lunch instead of brunch. Food was good there though. I had a burger and a drink and a nice view of the water and Pixar Pier. So that was really nice. No, I didn't get a special podcaster table. I should have said,
Excuse me. Do you know who I am?
Ego and Ratatouille. I could have done it that way.
Let's all try to picture Frank doing that, because it makes me laugh.
Hi. Last name's Cardillo, from as in Dillo's Diz.
Dillo. Emphasis on the Dillo.
Cardillo.
No, you have no tables. That's okay. It's okay. Just put me anywhere, wherever.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. It's my first time. I didn't do a first visit button, just for the record.
Ugh. What? Come on.
But the Lamplight Lounge I really enjoyed. And the PIM testing lab, I think that's what it's called, was really good. And the food at Carthay was good. It's just I wish I was in the middle of it more rather than in the back corner of it.
Right. Did you have a corn dog?
I did not have a corn dog, believe it or not. I kept talking about getting a corn dog. We did the churro in front of
Okay.
but it kept coming up, and I felt like it was one of those things of like, I don't think this is the right spot, and this is nowhere, and this isn't. I want to make sure I get the right one. And then and eventually I was like, I don't want a corn dog. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not big on cornbread, so that's really
Why?
I don't know. I like Twinkies. Does that count?
A Twinkie.
That's what it reminds me of.
Thing.
It is. It's the same thing.
I enjoy the Trader Joe's cornbread in the fall. That's one of my fall things to get.
The non-gluten version of that? Or?
No, it's gluten free. Oh yeah, the non-gluten. Yeah,
the non-gluten, gluten free. I know it's gluten.
Don't say non-gluten. It confuses me. Lewis is asking, why do we bother to give you advice? You're not going to do it.
Wait, well, to get you the corn dog, I know.
Yeah.
And like, I should have done it like day one when I was like, I'm doing all the things.
Yeah.
But by day 3, I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah. Val is saying she doesn't like corn dogs, but the one there is awesome. Do you like cornbread, Val? Or Twinkies? Because apparently they're the same thing. Oh God. All right. We didn't discuss Trader Sam's, right?
No, we didn't discuss Trader Sam's yet. So
now that I said Trader Joe's, I just thought about after I said Trader Sam's. Did I say
let me come back to Trader Sam's. I'll talk about the food in Disneyland Park, which is we had a lunch at Bengal Barbecue, which was really good.
Okay.
And I think that it's amazing just how not that Columbia Harbor House isn't good or other quick service options in Magic Kingdom, but Bengal Barbecue destroys a lot of quick service places in Florida for sure. It was really good, really tasty, and recommend. It was very it was a good. I enjoyed it. And then is that really? And then we had Blue Bayou on the first night for dinner, and that was really good. I really, similar to how we enjoy our Mexico Pavilion dinners on the water.
Yeah.
El Rio de Tempo, the River of Time. No, 3 Caballeros Grand Fiesta Tour. And it is, the atmosphere is cool. Food was really good. I think we split. I don't remember who started. I started with the prime rib, and Mrs. Dillo started with the filet mignon, and we flipped. But both of those were really good. And definitely, definitely would go back there in a heartbeat. Where Carthay, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't have that instant. Yes, I'd go back there. Blue Bayou, I'm like, no, absolutely, I'd go back to Blue Bayou.
Right. There's just some Twinkie follow-ups here.
Okay.
We have Troy saying Twinkie, the East Coast corn dog, new slogan.
Can we make a t-shirt? Can Mr. Snowdell get that together?
And Val saying she hasn't had a Twinkie. It's getting late, everybody. We're approaching 10 p.m. A Twinkie since I can't even remember when. When's the last time you had a Twinkie?
I know that since I've lived in Astoria, I can't remember what prompted me to buy the Twinkie, but I remember eating the Twinkie. I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I eating this?
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I've had one.
Now, what ring dings? Absolutely would eat all the time.
You do enjoy ring dings.
The ring dings.
Lexi saying that she's had a fried Twinkie at a carnival. All goes back to the carnivals. What were the other things? The not a ring ding. Not a Twinkie.
A yodel?
A yodel. They were big. That's what
devil dog?
A devil dog. That's it.
I can just name the whole Drake's line of products.
Name our childhood.
Yankee Doodles.
Right. Yeah. Funny. All right. Anyway.
Yeah. So going back to Blue Bayou. No, what we didn't mention briefly is I did cancel the World of Color
Yes.
dessert party, and this is for 3 different reasons.
Okay.
Reason number 1,
hmm
the kid wanted to ride the Incredicoaster coaster at night.
Sure.
Reason number 2, we just didn't see eating our value basically.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
And number 3 was we had an excellent view of World of Color from our hotel room.
Yeah.
So it's like,
No,
we're good.
that wins always. The view from the hotel room, that is the winner. Yeah.
So, well, I'll circle back, but I wanted to I didn't want to lose it.
Yeah.
Not talking about California Adventure anymore.
Yeah.
So Blue Bayou Bengal Barbecue. I had like this. There was a little snack cart across from the Matterhorn because I was like, all things Matterhorn.
Yeah.
Where it was a pretzel with melted cheese inside the pretzel. It's pretty good.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
That can't be bad. It just can't. Like cheese and a pretzel.
As discussed last week, the Dole Whip, which now makes me. Yesterday, I said to Jen, I was driving home yesterday and listening to last week's podcast because I didn't have focused time to listen to last week's podcast, and then talked about the Dole Whip, and I want to clarify that when you have a bowl of cereal, everyone, the bowl of cereal has to be it can't be a wide bowl to eat cereal. It has to be
Papa Dillo about that.
The big bowl is one thing. At least it still has a big bowl is one thing. But not it had like a little bit of like a wide wingy, like you can't eat cereal like that. And I want to make sure I clarify that. And what does that have to do with Dole Whip? People who didn't listen to last week's podcast, the presentation of the Dole Whip in Disneyland, it was these wide paper bowls like you would get in the Hampton Inn on your continental breakfast. And like if you've ever tried to put Fruit Loops and milk in that, it's like this is not the same as eating a bowl of cereal at home. I am a crazy person.
Troy saying you can't eat cereal out of a soup bowl. Listen, Papa Dillo takes like the salad bowls. Back in the day, Papa Dillo. He would do it now in a heartbeat, but salad bowl with Rice Krispies and a newspaper on a Sunday morning. I think that's all Papa Dillo needed.
Yeah, that's all. That's what he waited for every week. Was that bowl of Rice Krispies and the Sunday paper.
A massive salad bowl of Rice Krispies.
But no, it can't. It has to. You have to have it centered. You can't. Sure. You can't let the cereal get too far to the sides.
Right. So the presentation and the holding of the Dole Whip contributed to it feeling and tasting different. However, you did say it did not melt, which was nice.
No,
that was a perk.
There's pros and cons. At the end of the day, it's still pineapple Dole Whip, so it's
right.
Yeah, but I accept it in Disneyland. Thank you.
Lewis wants a full episode of bowl dimensions and slope. Here's the thing. I bet you we could do that from a What's in the Attic episode because it's not, the bowls aren't in the attic. They're in the kitchen, but we'll bring them up to the attic. We'll be like, here's an example. And we'll go through all of them. And maybe you'll see some spoons.
Because what is that? Is that random green platter dish still there too? Sometimes they try to mistake that for cereal bowls. Sometimes get out of here.
Yeah, for sure. They still do that. Yeah, come on. And then we'll top it with the Beaches and Cream spoon that's lives there. What? No,
that's not there. We didn't take that home.
It just looks like it.
Yeah, and that's why we can't talk about the Dillo's Disney Museum anymore. By the way. No, we don't get started. You can't talk about that.
Don't do it.
So that brings us basically to the hotel.
Yeah.
So like I said, on the first day, we kind of visited all 3 hotels.
Right.
We were staying at Pixar Place, but we walked through Grand Californian, and then we had a character breakfast there on the final morning. Mm-hmm. But on the first day, we did have a dinner reservation at Trader Sam's. Yeah. I was torn in the planning stages of whether I wanted to stay at Pixar Place because it was new and it's Pixar, and who doesn't love all the Pixar art and all the things?
Yeah.
Versus the original Disneyland hotel, So very happy with the hotel, minus a couple things I'll get to, but I definitely want to stay at the Disneyland Resort Hotel, Disneyland Hotel in the either next trip or in the future, because it's really cool. And right in the center of the area, first of all, their swimming pool is incredible with like a monorail going around like the slide. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has am I gonna say it right? A Tangaroa Terrace, which used to be
Mhm.
like a sit down restaurant over by Moana Mickey's Fun Hut over
Mhm.
the arcade in Apali, which
Yeah.
has just been this vacant building for 20 years, and it's so frustrating.
Uh-huh.
And Trader Sam's, and I will say that Vasilia from ET Family
Mhm.
Travel, she just took on like, tell me what you want me to book, and I'll book your reservations.
Yeah.
And she nailed each one each day.
Yeah.
Did the thing. So, and got Trader Sam's nice 4:30 first day, which
Mhm.
is really 7:30 our time. So it's
Yeah.
like, if we're gonna crash, then we got to eat a 4:30
Yeah.
meal, and that was really good. Um, we came home with 2 mugs. Did
Mhm.
the zombie mug, which I didn't get in September, which I
Yeah.
regretted immediately, going, why didn't I just buy the mug? Why?
Mhm.
And that was and the barrel, the keg, I guess,
Mhm.
mug as well. But first time for Mrs. Dillo at Trader Sam's,
Yeah.
and because we could eat there, like, not they can't eat at Trader Sam's, but you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
more like we could dine.
Restaurant-y. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But both the 9-year-old and Mrs. Dillo really enjoyed Trader Sam's.
Yeah.
Um, it would be hard to choose between the two, because
Mhm.
you love the kind of like speakeasy vibe
Right.
at the Polynesian.
Yeah.
Is really cool,
Yeah.
minus the 20-hour wait. So
Yeah.
scoring a reservation 2 months in advance at
Mhm.
Disneyland, and knowing you're going to experience it, definitely takes a lot of anxiety off
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, and walking around that resort and the lobby and the gift shop and all the framed photos from 70 years ago are really, really, really cool.
Yeah. I
Um, but I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I can pick between the two yet. It might be a Dillos Madness
oh, maybe.
play-in matchup.
Possibly. Interesting. And then the third hotel is
The
sorry,
Grand Californian.
Grand California. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just finish up and Pixar Place.
Yeah.
So Grand Californian, where we had the Storytellers Cafe character dining, which was good. But the Grand Californian was so, I don't know if I said this last week. It was so interesting to me that it felt like a combination of uh, Grand Floridian and
Mhm.
Wilderness Lodge. And it was like
Oh,
those two things come together,
yeah.
and you get the Grand Californian. And Mrs. L thought it had Polynesian vibes too.
Mm.
But because it has a spa and has all these things, that it just felt. I don't know if because I know it's a little pricier, that I don't
Mhm.
know if it's worth.
I don't like this one as much.
Yeah,
So there, it's fine. Whatever.
it's what we
Yeah.
say every time we're at the Grand Floridian. It's nice here, but come on.
Yeah. Exactly.
Uh, so and the character, I didn't do the, just as a reminder, I did not do the Napa Rose Princess
Right.
$142 per person extravaganza. I did
Why?
did the
Mhm.
traditional.
Mhm.
So and good. So Pixar Place,
Mhm.
uh just very what's the word I'm looking for, sleek, uh but not in a bad way. It made sense that it was as pristine as it was. The artwork was amazing
Yeah.
on every floor in the room. Just the different kinds of character designs were really cool. We
Mhm.
got 2 character meet and greets in the lobby, which I think I just saw news that Walt Disney World was going to step up that game a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So we saw Doug on the
Mhm.
first day. We saw Bing Bong on the final morning. You would have cried if it was your last
Probably
morning in
would've. Oh,
Disneyland and you
I would
saw
have been
Bing
like,
Bong.
"Take her to the moon for me, Bing Bong. I gotta go. I'm leaving today."
So that was cool, and we saw Joe Gardner playing piano
Mhm.
from Soul, playing
Yep.
piano,
Yep.
and I thought he was tucked away a little bit, maybe more
Cool.
than he should have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, we didn't really eat there beyond grab and go breakfast every
Mhm.
morning, which was the coffees and the banana bread and the croissant for the 9-year-old and
Yeah.
whatever else. So that was good. Our room was awesome.
Yeah.
The room, we were on the 11th floor. the view of the California Adventure was amazing.
Yeah.
To wake up to that, to go to, like I said, the World of Color was, you just saw everything.
Yeah.
So that was really, really great. But the beds were comfortable. Good, like,
That's on my list of
yeah,
things
yeah.
to talk about.
I
Mhm.
mean, really well done. The Walt Disney World Resort TV greater than the Disneyland Resort TV.
Interesting.
Um,
Even without Stacy.
even without Stacy, just better options in Walt Disney World on the TV.
Yeah.
But really love the room. I was actually like, you're sad to go. You're sad to leave all the
Yeah.
time. And I think one of the things to be sad about, one, I haven't been to California too often, so I don't know how often I'm going to go again. So knowing that I will probably stay at the Disneyland Hotel is hard to like, but when am I going to stay here again and have this view and do this thing? And, it's fair that can mess you up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Wait, back to the beds for a second. So, are they deluxe resort beds in Disney World? What
now
level
listen, I
resort?
thought I wasn't going to be able to answer this question until remembering that we were at the boardwalk in August, and I
Yeah.
wasn't a fan of that bed. So this bed was definitely better than that boardwalk.
All right. Okay.
So,
Fair.
and I base that all on how does my hips feel the next morning. Old.
Okay. All right.
Lewis is asking, did I specifically pick high floor theme park view? This was a recommendation from Vasilia, and when talking about so we definitely upgraded that specifically for in our plan.
Okay. Did you drop that it was your 50th birthday?
Probably. I don't know.
You didn't. I told you to do it.
Not enough. So the two beefs I have with the hotel. One, there's 4 elevators in this place. There's, I don't know, 14 floors. I waited longer for the elevator sometimes than I did for some of these attractions in the parks.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they can't get it together. I mean, they have to have like a cast member like working it so that that's how slow they are, and I don't quite understand why they just don't go, this elevator's for floors 1 through 3, this one's for 4 through 6, and this one, because for each one to run local is crazy.
Yeah.
And then you press the thing, it says, elevator D is coming. You're like, okay. And then elevator C opens with nobody on it, and it's going to your floor. And you're like, what does this mean? So there were things like that didn't, and that was the thing everybody complained about. And then on the last night, didn't have fireworks on Wednesday and Thursday. Now keep in mind how California and Los Angeles and the area has been very understanding.
Oh yeah.
So the fireworks were scheduled for 9:30 on Friday night. You could watch the fireworks from the 3rd floor where the pool is. So we run out of the park, California Adventure. We run through downtown Disney, which we haven't mentioned yet, and get to the 3rd floor at 9:25. Cast member is there. We watch we're waiting. We see the Fantasmic lights still kind of going. 9:30 comes, nothing. 9:35 comes, nothing. 9:40 comes, nothing. Where's the cast member? Cast member's gone. We don't know where the cast member is. So, and people are like, Disney's usually pretty timely with their fireworks. So when I had run back over, and I think I said this last week, but it's worth repeating it. Went back over to the Imperium. I was like, did the fireworks get canceled? And they were like, oh yeah, they got canceled. Okay, listen, 100% understand if there's even the tiniest bit of breeze. They're going to cancel the fireworks.
Sure.
But somebody's got to come up and tell the people waiting that the fireworks are canceled.
Yeah, just a little announcement, a little communication.
That's something. And you had somebody there.
Yeah.
And then they were gone.
Yeah.
It made no sense. Love the pool, though. The pool had 4 fire pits. And on the fire pits were the carvings of Anger. Oh man, I'm going to blank. The volcano from I Lava You. Amber from Elemental. And the 4th one is
What would the fourth one be?
Oh, Jack Jack.
Oh, yeah.
So that was cool. Like some little things like
Yeah.
that you could catch throughout your stay,
Yeah.
and knowing that you weren't going to catch them all.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
I want to make sure you have said all the things you want to say. I have some questions and some follow-ups and some clarifications,
Mhm.
but do you have everything from your list that you wanted to say?
I just want to mention that I thought how the flow into and out of the park. We talked about this with you could walk everywhere, get everywhere in 10 minutes last week.
Yeah.
But a lot of that time you're cutting through downtown Disney. So
Mm-hmm.
you're always passing the stores, you're seeing what they have to offer, you're seeing what restaurants they are. They have. And
Like,
yeah, their world of Disney, they have their own world of Disney, things like that. So it's a nice strip, and it reminded me a little bit of the old downtown Disney in Walt Disney World,
yeah.
where on the west side, where from like the AMC to the House of Blues was like
Yeah.
an awesome path of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I like that as well. But now you can ask away or ask me to clarify things.
Okay. Also, the chat, feel free to drop your questions in that Frank has not answered. Lewis, I have one of your clarifications that's needed here, but feel free to ask your questions and get them in before the end of the episode here. Lewis had asked about Cars Land. He kind of felt like it was a little glossed over, or he didn't really know your full thoughts. So what are your full thoughts?
I think we glossed over it.
Yeah.
Visiting as well. We went in, and specifically to get to Roadsters right away. We didn't want to wait too long. We stood in single rider line because the 9-year-old was willing to be in that line.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the ride.
Mm-hmm.
The detailing is awesome. It's again amazing what they could do in a small amount of space.
Right.
The other attractions we did not go on.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't feel the waits were worth the ride. But yeah, we would have liked to have gone back at different points of the day. But the only time we really went inside, like the area, was that second morning we were visiting, and when we walked to Roadsters basically and walked out and looked around, but didn't spend time there.
Right. Okay. The hotel room, do you have a balcony or no balcony?
No balcony. No.
Right.
No balconies in the hotel.
The night vibes, I hear everyone saying how amazing DCA is at night. The night vibes overall in comparison to Walt Disney World. Do you feel like the same vibes at night in Disneyland?
No Disney breeze in Disneyland.
Ridiculous.
And that's the thing. They canceled the fireworks because of wind. I was like,
well, wind is different than a Disney breeze.
But you know what I'm saying?
No,
They said wind, and I was like, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, Disney breeze is on my list as well. But the night vibes, are they the same?
I think in Disneyland, the park itself, walking like Main Street is very cool.
Yeah.
We stayed away from the one side because Fantasmic was at 9, so we didn't really go over that way. So to me, the night vibes in the main park is about Main Street to the castle. Like,
right.
I feel like that's where it's at. Because even I was in Fantasyland on Mr. Toad's that last day, and I was like, it still just felt dark. So Main Street to me is where you get the vibes. DCA just lit up, looks awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm saying DCA now because I haven't said it yet, but now everyone in the chat is saying it. So I'm going to say it.
You can say it. Do you feel, I think we discussed this briefly because I think you mentioned it somewhere out in the social media or Discord world, the Disneyland blues. Are they the same? Are they similar? Is it
They're different because, like I said, it took so long to get there. So the idea of an annual trip, I would doubt that's in the question. So the idea of not knowing, to how Lexi has taught us all, you don't know when your next trip is. For there, I couldn't tell you at all. And really, and to me, the big thing would boil down to flight cost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you think that if you see now friends in Disneyland, will you feel the same FOMO as you do when you see people in Disney World?
No, I don't
Hmm.
think so. No, I think I'll be excited for them more than the FOMO.
Yeah.
The FOMO, because there's so many options. Like how we were saying last week, like there's so many options from New York City to LAX direct.
Yeah.
There's just so many flights from here, New York City to
Yeah.
Orlando,
Yeah.
that it's just so easy. Like for Jen to
Yeah.
go on a random Sunday for
Right.
24 hours.
Hmm.
Like the idea, that's why we can have the FOMO the way we do,
Yeah.
because we know how easy it is to get there from here. To
Right.
get
Yeah.
to LA from here is a challenge.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I found like my FOMO, to your point, like when you guys were there, we were more excited to be like, oh my God, that's so cool. Oh my God, they're there.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. We're so excited. And like, but I didn't feel like FOMO, like, oh man, I want to be, because I think also not knowing it.
Hmm.
So that's why I was asking you now, having been in it, because it's like I don't know what I'm missing out on, so I can't really have FOMO where I know exactly what I'm missing out on in Disney World. So like there is that piece a little bit.
I will tell you that the only thing about like that is because, and you probably can understand, the living in Orlando and having the access.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to experience having that access to Disneyland
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s, or what, like
Yeah.
that would I would have loved to have seen what that was like when it was just that park.
Yeah.
And you could just go to work there, and if you
Yeah.
were local, you could just walk or whatever to
Right.
the park. I
Mhm.
think that's where I'm like, oh man, I wish I've gone sooner. Obviously,
Right. Mm-hmm.
is this the right the right situation to go, and you can go
Yeah.
with your daughter and your wife
Mm-hmm.
as a family and go for the first time, that 100%.
Yeah.
But there is that little younger side cast member, worked in the park, could go whenever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it that is, more of that, I think.
Yeah. One more question, and I'll save my final question until after we go back to the chat here. Can you, because you have now been to all the Walt Disney World parks,
Mhm,
you have been to Disneyland, and you have been to Disneyland Paris.
mhm.
I would like you to rank each park, please. All of them.
As of today,
Mhm.
it's
In this
subject to
moment.
change. Hashtag always MGM. You can't usurp my home park,
Uh-huh.
no matter how much it changes. The original Disneyland park,
Mm-hmm.
Magic Kingdom, Epcot, California Adventure,
Mm-hmm.
um, Blizzard Beach, Typhoon Lagoon. Oh, I left out Disneyland Paris. Wait, I have to go
Yeah.
back.
Uh-huh.
All right, let me go back. Hashtag always MGM,
Uh-huh.
Disneyland Park, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disneyland Paris. I only went to the one park.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go to the studios over there. Disneyland Paris, then California Adventure, then Typhoon Lagoon and River Country. I never went to, and Blizzard Beach, and then
Mm.
Animal Kingdom.
Obviously. Uh-huh. All right. Questions in the chat. Lexi, looks like maybe there's 3 here. Let me start with Lexi. If you could ride one ride again right now, what would it be?
Matterhorn.
Obviously.
Yeah. But the Incredicoaster was really good. I mean, as a family,
Yeah.
Incredicoaster.
Yeah. Okay.
As a single rider, Matterhorn. I also saw that Lexi dropped like 4 different snacks that I did not
Yes.
eat.
I was like, oh, I
Yeah,
missed that
yeah,
actually.
you
Yeah.
read those off at just make sure.
Yeah, I'll put them here. Matterhorn, macaroon, okay, churro toffee, and what? Breakfast chimichanga.
Oh yeah, none of those.
Yeah.
I wanted to try a Ronto wrap out there to see what the differences
Oh,
were,
yeah.
and I didn't get to that.
That's a fail all around, Lexi. If you could ride one ride that wasn't open, which would it be?
Small World, 100%.
Mhm.
Like I mean, and that's hard to say because I would have liked to ride the railroad and the monorail both, and that definitely that and Small World are 3 reasons that I know I will have to go back. But
Mhm.
Small World is I've always loved the facade of It's a Small
Yeah.
World out there.
How long into your next Disney trip before you say, "Well, in Disneyland"?
Well, find out on the 16th of March when I'm on the boardwalk and saying, "Well,
If my MFA in dramaturgy has taught me anything, in Disneyland, they do it this way. All right. Dr. Troy says, in your opinion, which ride probably needs to be replaced/refreshed the most at either Disneyland or DCA?
oh, you know what? I haven't talked about this, but I'll address this elephant in the room."
Uh-huh.
So the Mike and Sully save whatever rescue whatever
Uh-huh.
ride is dark ride takes you through the story of Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Fine. There's a whole land coming to Florida. So the first thing I want to say is there was a lot of people in California wearing Monsters Inc. merch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that these fine people, because they were wearing some cool stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but they are responsible for making Disney executives think who live out there in California
Yeah.
that Monsters Inc. is this popular to be
Mm-hmm.
in Florida. They had a lot of merch on the shelf, but a lot of people were wearing the merch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
Monsters Inc. is more popular than I think, maybe.
Yeah.
Or is it just popular out here in
Yeah.
California, not in Florida?
Hashtag blame Disneyland fans is what you're saying.
No, don't start that
Oh,
war.
what?
But that was something I took note of. So I felt like, well, you got this Monsters Inc. ride. There should be more Monsters Inc. around here.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt about that. I'm trying to think of like something that might be a little more
Mm-hmm.
relevant. I don't know. The Toontown area, as was the case in Florida when they had it Birthday Land, Starland, Mickey
Mm-hmm.
Town Fair, like, you know. Could it be updated a little bit? Could it be a little more Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and not
Right.
what it was 20 years ago? Probably.
Right. All right.
That's a good question.
Lewis is saying he feels way more FOMO for Disneyland because he can't easily go back.
Mm-hmm.
And the castle was wrapped in a burlap sack when they were there.
I mean, that's rough. I think.
Yeah.
If I had that experience, it would.
Yeah. Lewis also asking, when was the last time you went to Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon? Oh, now you
Oh.
have a game.
Oh.
Oh,
You can go though.
I could.
That's true. We could have gone for free, Jen. You have to
That's
go.
right. I forgot about that.
That's what you have to do that day.
Well, now I have to do that. That's pretty funny for the content.
For the content.
Mhm.
I don't think I have been in either Walt Disney World water park in this century.
I was gonna say, have you been in the 2000s? Oh, and Lewis is mentioning, I mean, you will have a free ticket to the water parks in a few weeks.
Jen will. Jen
Yeah,
can get in.
yeah. Small World is better overall there. Monsters at the Tall Fair. Okay, I think
I
we
will
got it.
say it's a small world in Disneyland Paris. I mean, there was a lot of good attractions I went on in Disneyland Paris. Space Mountain's awesome there. Thunder Mountain's awesome there. But I really enjoyed the It's a Small World there too. But that's also because similar to Disneyland, it has that you start outdoors and go indoors.
Mhm. Yeah. Lewis is saying, so then it was rude to rank them over AK. Was it? Okay, my final question.
Mhm.
As a Disneyland first timer, you have completed your trip. You
Mhm.
did it.
Mhm.
It took you 50 years to do it. What is your first timer advice to another first timer?
Have the plan for the first 2 hours of
Mhm.
your day. If you're not doing Lightning Lane,
Yeah.
make a itinerary for the 4 attractions you want to hit, especially in the main Disneyland park, because you can do them. You know where to cross from Thunder Mountain in the Magic Kingdom to Space Mountain. That's
Mhm.
that's 25 minutes to a half an hour of your life. It's like no,
Yeah.
but with Disneyland, like it was so quick to go from Indiana Jones to Thunder Mountain,
Yeah.
which anywhere else would be like, and we're trudging along, and
Mhm.
you know, that's what I would do. And what's funny is when Vasilia was like, "Where do you want to go each day?" I was like, "Well, I got to go to the main park the first day
Mhm.
because she was putting in the reservations." So I was like, "So do Disneyland the first day, do California Adventure the second day, do Disneyland the third day."
Mhm.
But a little did I know that, and it didn't matter. It
Mhm.
was that the extra magic half hour,
Mhm.
not hour, 30
Yeah.
minutes was reversed each day. So it was California event.
Yeah.
So a lot of people went to California. So in some ways, I felt like that was an advantage. So some
Yeah.
people are going to California Adventure at 7:30. Then I'm going to go to the park where people maybe aren't piling in right away. So that would
Mhm.
also be yeah, that would also be my recommendation. Maybe
Mhm.
is like just because you get an extra half hour in one park, go to
Mhm.
the other park
Yeah.
because there'll be you have an extra advantage, especially if it's Disneyland because everyone's going, as Lexi told me, going over to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So you have like the run of the place for
Right.
2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so Lexi's saying a few things here. First, when are you hitting the Asian parks?
I
Yeah.
showed a couple things happened. I showed the 9-year-old the Shanghai Pirates over the
Mhm.
weekend, which is I mean, if you have never seen like a YouTube ride through of the Shanghai Pirates of the Caribbean, um, do it because it's awesome.
Yeah.
And Tokyo's always been on my bucket list
Mhm.
of, and not just Disney Park, just as a city.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say if I'm gonna hit anything, it's gonna be Tokyo
Yeah. Yeah.
when I'm 60. But
Lexi also saying breaking news that Dillo recommends making a plan. And does that make Jen the Dillo-y Dillo? Listen, if I'm going to Disneyland, there has to be a plan. I haven't been there before. Disney World, no plan. Lexi, if you were in the Discord the other day, you saw me put a picture up of my planner because I had to write all of March. In the day to day, I'm a planner.
but you didn't have the 16th and 17th on there.
I did not, but that was open, so I knew that it would be okay. I could do that. I had nothing planned on those days, which made it easy to know.
And I will say that a plan consists of, again, those only 2 hours because I really right didn't want to book to an inch of my life. I
Mhm.
a couple of the touring plans outlines per Lexi's advice and offer,
Mhm.
and and seeing what the whole day looked like. So I had an idea, but I really wanted to make sure that we hit the stuff we wanted to hit early so that we could take it easy
Yeah.
and just enjoy. And the by the middle of the first day we crossed back and forth a couple of times, which if it was the Magic Kingdom again, it would have felt like, oh my god, what are we doing?
Mhm.
But didn't feel as bad. But we didn't have much of a plan.
Yeah.
I knew those 4 rides were important, and then we could walk it back.
Right. Yeah. All right, last question because we have to get out of here because I have to put it together for
Yeah.
tomorrow
Okay.
morning and
Mhm,
it's late.
mhm.
What is this? 2020 and we're
We're going
starting
after
things
10
at
o'clock.
10
I can
o'clock?
hear it in my voice. It's after
My
10 o'clock.
goodness. Because you just said Caribbean, which reminded me in the beginning of this episode, you said
Mhm.
you wanted to keep things coherent. Do we say coherent or do we say coherent? Now
Say
I'm
it.
like, have I
Mhm.
been saying it wrong? What do I say? But I definitely don't say coherent. I say
What did I
coherent.
say at the beginning of this
You
episode?
said coherent. I feel like I say coherent, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to need the chat to also put in. And if you're saying coherent, like spell that out a little
All
bit.
right. Well, while the chat comes up with their
Yeah.
responses, what is Lewis asking me? I don't have my
Any
phone.
regrets not getting lightning lane to make the day a bit more predictable and get a bit
No,
more
no
done with the
regrets
same
on that.
amount of
No,
waiting? No.
no, it's not. No, I mean, and props to everyone who plans their day around lightning
Yeah.
lanes, and um, it's not something I don't find enjoyment that way.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I like even I was more comfortable as soon as those 4 rides in the morning were done
Mhm,
to just be
mhm.
like, whatever's gonna happen now.
Right.
Like that's where my no coherent. I'm
Two,
wrong.
two votes for coherent. Mhm.
Hmm. I said coherent at the beginning.
Yes, and I was going to say it in the beginning, and I was like, "Well, I can't start tangenting. We just started the podcast."
All right, I'm gonna look up where I
I'm
got that
keeping it
from.
in too. I'm not editing it out because I don't have time. We're not doing it.
Well, now that these marathon trip reports are over,
Yeah.
stay tuned next week for our interview with Amy Ratcliffe.
Yep.
Where I don't think I mispronounce words, or we talk about malaprops, but it's a
We do.
bookstore in Asheville, North Carolina,
Yes.
where Carolina, where you
Down there in
can
the
get an
Carolinas.
autographed copy of Amy's upcoming books by going to the Malaprops bookstore website.
Mm-hmm. And we have the next 2 episodes actually already done.
Oh, well, so
So
you won't be seeing us for a while. You'll see us on March 16th at Jelly Rolls.
we have to figure out Dillo's madness.
Oh yeah,
We have to figure out the SNL 50 if we're doing that, because
Dillo.
that's going to be old news soon.
Yeah.
2 things.
Okay.
At least at the resort, maybe people will see us.
Oh yeah, at the resort.
Yeah.
Of course.
And the next week a much shorter trip report. Who knows, Lewis? Because it's 24 hours. It might be.
It might be.
Our next
Might
trip
match it
report.
minute for minute.
You never know.
But thanks for joining us here at DillosDizResort.com. Of course, that's our Patreon, with memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. DillosDizResort.com. Until next time, or at Jelly Rolls, or we'll figure out. We'll have a whole calendar of events coming up at DillosDizResort.com.
Will we? Yeah.
She's Jen, and I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
Deuces. The Dillo's Diz podcast is hosted by Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo Snyder. Music produced by Matt Harvey. Logos and video production courtesy of Snydillo Studios. Dillo's Diz Resort is our Patreon, with tiers starting as low as $1 per month. You can visit DillosDizResort.com to learn more. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X Twitter, and Facebook at Dillo's Diz. Check us out on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/DillosDiz. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there. We also have merch available on TeePublic and Etsy. For all this and more, visit our one-stop shop, DillosDiz.com. Dillo's Diz Podcast 2025.